It was a bright Saturday morning in Seattle, Washington, when Ethan Miller, a 23-year-old college graduate, woke up to the sound of his phone buzzing non-stop. He rubbed his eyes, still half asleep, and saw several text messages from his next-door neighbor, Mrs. Grace Parker, a kind 40-year-old woman who lived alone in the small blue house next to his. Grace had always been like family to Ethan. She had lived in that neighborhood long before his parents moved there. She often brought cookies during holidays, lent tools whenever someone needed help, and was the kind of person who noticed if a mailbox wasn't checked for a few days. Everyone on the street respected her for her kindness and calm nature. Ethan opened one of her messages. Greater than, "Hey Ethan, could you please stop by when you get a chance? I need some help moving a few boxes to the garage." He smiled. Grace was always trying to handle things on her own but never hesitated to ask for help when she truly needed it. Ethan quickly got dressed, grabbed a bottle of water, and headed across the lawn. The visit. When he rang the doorbell, Grace opened the door with her usual warm smile. "Good morning, Ethan. Sorry to bother you so early," she said softly. "No problem, Mrs. Parker. I wasn't doing anything important anyway," he replied with a grin. She laughed. "You can call me Grace, remember? You've been helping me out since high school." Ethan chuckled. "Right. Old habits die hard." The living room was filled with half-open boxes and neatly stacked books. Grace had been organizing her late husband's old belongings. He had passed away 5 years earlier in a car accident, and she was finally ready to donate some of his things to charity. As Ethan started lifting the boxes, he noticed how carefully she handled each item. Every photo frame and book seemed to hold a piece of her heart. "Are you sure you're okay giving these away?" Ethan asked gently. Grace nodded, her eyes glistening with emotion. "Yes. It's time. I can't keep living in the past, Ethan. My husband would have wanted me to move forward." There was a quiet moment between them. The air felt heavy with memories but also peaceful. Ethan could sense her strength beneath the sadness, and he admired that. The unexpected moment. As they finished moving the boxes to the garage, Grace handed Ethan a glass of lemonade. They sat on the porch, looking at the quiet street. Birds were chirping, and a cool breeze carried the scent of blooming jasmine from her garden. "Ethan," she said suddenly, breaking the silence. "Can I tell you something?" "Of course," he replied, curious. She looked down at her glass and then back up at him. "I've realized something lately. It's strange, but I feel like I've learned more about kindness and resilience from you than from most adults I know." Ethan blinked, surprised. "From me?" Grace nodded. "You remind me that goodness doesn't have an age limit. You're respectful, you listen, and you show up when people need you. That's rare these days." Her words struck him deeply. He had never thought of himself as anyone special, just a regular guy trying to help out. But hearing that from her made him feel seen in a way he hadn't felt in a long time. "Thank you, Grace. That means a lot," he said quietly. She smiled, eyes warm. "I'm serious. You know, sometimes we underestimate how much small acts of kindness matter. When you helped me after my husband's accident, bringing groceries, mowing the lawn, you didn't just help physically. You reminded me that I wasn't alone." Ethan looked away for a second, feeling emotional. "You were like family to us, Grace. You still are." Grace's smile softened. "That's exactly what I wanted to tell you. You're not just a neighbor to me, Ethan. You're like the son I never had." That was the unexpected thing she had wanted to say. And for a moment, Ethan didn't know how to respond. He felt a mix of warmth, gratitude, and deep respect. He nodded, eyes misty. "Thank you. That really means a lot. New beginnings." After that day, Ethan started visiting Grace more often, not because she needed help, but because he genuinely enjoyed spending time with her. She would tell him stories about her youth, about traveling across Europe with her husband, and about how life had taught her patience. In return, Ethan shared his own dreams, starting his own business, helping his parents retire early, and one day building a small nonprofit that supported elderly people living alone. Grace loved that idea. She even offered to help him manage the paperwork. Over time, their bond grew stronger, built purely on friendship, mutual respect, and shared values. Grace found comfort in guiding Ethan, and Ethan found inspiration in her life lessons. One afternoon, while organizing a charity drive together, Grace turned to him with a bright smile. "You know what, Ethan? I think your generation gives me hope again." He laughed. "Well, I'll take that as a compliment." "It's more than that," she said. "It's a reminder that good hearts still exist." A gift from the past. A few weeks later, Grace called Ethan over again. When he arrived, she handed him a small box. Inside was an old leather journal. "This was my husband's," she said softly. "He used to write motivational notes for himself. I think you'll appreciate them." Ethan opened the journal carefully. On the first page, it read, "Greater than, the measure of a man isn't how much he earns, it's how much he uplifts others." Ethan looked up, speechless. "Grace, I don't know what to say." "Then don't," she replied gently. "Just keep being who you are." From that moment, Ethan made it his mission to live by those words. He carried the journal everywhere, using it as inspiration to help others. Grace's unexpected words that day had changed the direction of his life, not through romance or drama, but through genuine connection and kindness. Years later, 5 years passed. Ethan's nonprofit had grown. He was now running a community program that provided emotional and practical support to senior citizens living alone. Grace became one of the organization's honorary advisors. During a public event, a journalist asked Ethan what inspired him to start the program. Without hesitation, he smiled and said, "It all started with a visit to my neighbor, Grace Parker. She once said something that I'll never forget, that simple acts of kindness can make people feel seen again. That truth changed my life." The audience applauded, and Grace, sitting in the front row, wiped away a tear. She had once thought her story was ending when her husband passed away, but through Ethan, she realized life always had new chapters waiting. The lesson. Sometimes, the most unexpected moments come from the simplest places, a neighbor's porch, a quiet conversation, or an honest compliment. Grace's words had not only lifted Ethan but had also given new meaning to her own life.